Hi, I'm Lee Jenkins. We're going to talk today about place value, how we can, even starting in kindergarten, build a solid understanding of place value and regrouping. Here we go. We're going to play Race to 1,000 starting in kindergarten. Yes, Race to 1,000. Well, not the first week, but by the end of the year, we expect all the children to know how to play Race to 1,000. Place value regrouping at its best. There's several games, Race to 100, Race to 200, 500, Race for a dollar, Race to 1,000, lots of games. And they all have the same basic rules. They're played with three games. There's three players. One player is the banker and has all the blocks. Then there's two players, and they're racing to see who can get the most and get to the 100 first, if that's the game. So that's it. Three players, one's a banker, and two are having a race. The directions, they're groups of three, as we said. The banker has 25 one blocks, 25 10 blocks, and a 100 block when you're playing Race to 100. There's a die labeled 10, 12, 8, 15, 5, and 11. Doesn't have to be exactly those numbers. You can vary it, but you want an average of about 10 when you're racing to 100. So there's 10 rolls of the die before there's a winner. If the numbers on the die are too large, the game ends quickly. If they're too small, the students get bored before there's a winner. That works out about 10 rolls of the die of each player before there's a winner. So the first player rolls the die, the banker distributes the blocks. The second player does the same. That's it. They take turns rolling the die, and the banker gives them the blocks. But here's the key. When a player has 10 ones, they give them back to the banker, and the banker gives them a 10 block. That's what they do over and over and over. And you'll hear them counting by tens at a young age. I have 10, I have 20, I have 30, I have 40, I have 50. They're counting by tens. And then they'll add the ones on. I have 50, 51, 52, 53. They're keeping track of it at a young age. And the winner is the first person to trade in 10 of the 10 blocks for a 100 block. And then they are the winner. The winner usually becomes the banker. And then when they play the third game, the third player is the banker. It takes about 3 games for a math period. This is the assignment for that math period. It's not something else. It's not something to do when you finish your assignment. This is the assignment. And by the way, this you don't have to limit this to kindergarten. I'm just saying kindergartners understand it and love it. Race to 500, the same game, except the banker has a bunch of 100 blocks, 9 or 10. The first person to have 500 is the winner. The only change is the numbers on the die, the numerals there need to be larger. 50, 60, 40, 65, 35, 52, for example. You can see the average is around 50 because we want 10 rolls of the die before there's a winner. Race to 1,000. Oh my goodness, do they like this? They love that 1,000 block. It's the same game. Here's some numerals. You can write 100 on one side of the die, 120, 102, 85, 58, 110. You'd like to see a little argument between the student rolls 120 and the banker gives them 102, and they have to solve it and figure it out. We're working on the place value and regrouping, but they understand it at a young age that it's all about trading in the smaller numeral for the 10 bigger and on down the line until they get to the 1,000 block. The same rules apply for Race to a Dollar, except it's a little more difficult to know that you trade 5 pennies for a nickel, 2 nickels for a dime, and then nickels and dimes for quarters, quarters for $half, and 2 $half for the dollar. But they do get it. They can learn this. Even at a very young age, they can learn the rules for money. The rules change when you play Go for Broke. Instead of racing to get to the 100, you're racing to have nothing left. You give each player a 100 block. And whatever they roll, they have to give it back to the banker. Well, each player has a 100 block and they roll 8. Well, they have to give the banker the 100 block. The banker gives them 10 tens. Then they have to take one of the tens or trade it in for ones in order to give the banker 8 ones. It's more difficult, it's harder, but obviously subtraction is harder in schools than is addition. So of course it's harder. You'll hear funny things from kids like, I don't want to go broke. they like the adding on better than the go for broke, but it really sets the stage for explaining, subtracting, regrouping when you come to that in the curriculum. Once children have a firm grasp of place value and regrouping, they understand our computation explanations. You don't need to limit the young children to add and subtract. They can learn beginning multiplication and beginning division at a young age. 369 divided by 3. How do you do that in first grade? You get 300 blocks, 6 tens and 9 ones, and you divide them up into 3 piles. But instead of wasting a bunch of time trying to explain all that, they get it because they know the place value regrouping. You've built a solid foundation for them. Please don't hold children back. Here's a 40-year-old story. I was a math coordinator for a school district, and we placed base 10 blocks into every first grade classroom. They were fairly new at that time, and then no teachers had them. So I went into every first grade, there were 50 of them, 3 times during the year to help the teachers with the use of them. I walk in the room and I say to the teacher, where do you keep your blocks? They point over there. So I go over and look and I say, where are the 1,000 blocks? And the teacher put their hand over their mouth like this and say, this is first grade. I said, yeah, I know it's first grade. Where are the 1,000 blocks? This is first grade, they say, a little more louder, but still in a whisper. I say, yeah, I know, but where are the 1,000 blocks? Just say, well, up there in the cupboard. So we have to get something to stand on, climb up, move the boxes out of the way, and get the 1,000 blocks out of the cupboard. You think, well, that's an old story. Well, it's happened to me recently, very recently. Only the difference this time was it was a special ed class. Same thing, walk in the room. Well, where's the 1,000 block? This is special ed. I know. Well, where's the 1,000 block? Really, this is special ed. No. And then within the last year, a first grade teacher told me, oh no, children can't even handle 100 in first grade. So this is part of what we've inherited. I'm not picking on people. I'm just saying, please do not hold back our students. Students can learn far more than we ever expected. Look at this first grade problem. You can see there that the student is going to have 4 ones and 7 tens. When they add it together, they build the first number, they build the second number, they put them all into one pile, and they end up with 11 ones. And you say to them, what do you do when you have 11 ones? Oh, I have to trade 10 of them in for a 10 block. That's how they learn regrouping. They learned it through the game. And that's true for all that we do with add, subtract, multiply, and divide. When regrouping is necessary, they get it. Please don't hold them back. Here's my email address, lee@crazysimpleeducation.com, and my phone number. I'd love to hear from you, especially if you have funny stories, such as this kindergartner saying, but I don't want to go broke. Have a good time. Thank you so much.